Oh, sugar honey iced tea. It's the EAC Show.
Good day, ladies and gents. I'm Emilio A. Colon.
And I am Marcus Mack, today known as Vladimir Mack. And this is the EAC Show coming to you from sunny South Florida with episode 67.
Episode 67. We got some baseball to discuss, some football to discuss, some NBA talk. But Marcus Mack and myself are repping O Canada today. Marcus Mack is in his royal blue Vladimir Guerrero Jr. number 27 Toronto Blue Jays jersey, and I'm repping the Players Only Edition Toronto Blue Jays hat on this episode 67. So we're gonna rep, and we're gonna start off with speaking about Major League Baseball. Finally about to come back, less than a week away. We got some exhibition games this weekend, Marcus Mack. But we're gonna talk about a little bit about exhibition games, but we're really gonna talk about the Toronto Blue Jays and their situation and what's going on with them. So Marcus, you and I both spoke about it on the pre-show a little bit. The amazing job that Major League Baseball is doing with this whole COVID-19 situation, testing the results, absolutely amazing.
Amazing job. They turned the heat up. That's what they did. They turned the heat up. I mean, overall, I think the MLB is definitely doing a great job. But in Canada, they're not playing at all.
Not at all.
Whatsoever. We're talking about almost $1 million in fines, $750,000 in fines. You break any rules when it comes to that bubble, you will be fined and potentially go to jail. Well,
the issue here, Marcus Mack, is that Canada is still closed. The border is still closed for people entering from the U.S. Now, obviously, there's exceptions being made for professional athletes deemed essential businesses because You got, hockey being played in Edmonton and Toronto, and you got the Blue Jays who play in Toronto. So as an exception, the country and the people that are in charge of, the controlled disease, whatever center are basically saying, look, we'll make these exceptions for you players because you guys have the resources, and you guys can test and make sure that these guys are taken care of. But if these guys, for any reason whatsoever, break the rules because they're traveling from Toronto into the United States and back and forth, there is going to be serious repercussions. And they said that they will fine players $750,000. Canada is not playing.
Is that $750,000 US dollars?
Well, it's Canadian money, but Canadian money is just slightly. If I'm not mistaken, I'm gonna look it up right now. It might be.
They're actually worth more than a dollar. They're worth a little bit more, not that much. Last I checked, it might have changed.
I'm gonna check it right now. So actually, the Canadian dollar versus the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar, you get for $1 Canadian dollar, you get 74 cents. So the Canadian dollar is actually worth more money than the United States dollar.
Yeah, definitely a valid question, because if you got to pay 750 Canadian dollars, you might be spending pretty much $1 million for breaking that bubble. Hello, NBA. Hello, NBA. If they was to enforce some of those Canadian rules for the NBA down here in Orlando, oh man, it's gonna be a couple of people paying a lot of money for real. Might even be winding up in the can behind it.
Absolutely, but look, I give hats off to Canada. They're really taking this extremely serious. They don't want to have these astronomical numbers of coronavirus cases or coronavirus deaths that the United States had. I think in the very, very beginning, I think the United States was very, very lax on this situation. They didn't deem it as important, and now they've leveled up and they sat there and they realized how serious this could be, and they're taking the proper necessary precautions. I'm glad they are. It's very extremely important to do so. But Canada is not fooling around when it comes to it. If you break their rules, there will be consequences.
I mean, we can't stress this enough that this is a global pandemic, not just a South Florida thing, not just an American thing, not just a Canadian thing. This is a global pandemic, and, it can go way left. Like Florida has spiked, a lot. It's spiked in a way that I can't lie, I had no idea it was going to spike that much. I know people were still going outside, and obviously people don't want to be stuck in the house, but the way it spiked and the time that it spiked, when because they closed the beaches, opened them back up and closed them again. You know what I'm saying? In Miami got hit the worst. So when I see stuff like this, I mean, especially what everything that MLB has been going through for the past month, we're just trying to figure out, you know, how they're going to work out with this pandemic. This is how they should be handling the players, not just in Toronto, but they should be handling players all over the place like this. You know what I'm saying? They just recently did some tests, right? And
they basically tested, and this is not just players, this is staff and players. Right. The MLB has recently tested over 10,500 coronavirus tests were completed in the last week, and only 6 came back positive. 5 were players, and 1 was a staff member. Those numbers are amazing, literally. Like that's insane.
A lot better too. A lot better, and it's because of these kinds of rules. Why? You know, they're doing a great job, but like I said, they putting that fire to their ass. You know what I'm saying? They putting that fire to their ass, letting them know, hey, listen, man.
You just reminded me. Today's F It Friday.
I wish you would stop saying F it. It's fuck it Fridays, ladies and gentlemen. They put that fire to their ass and let them know, like, hey, listen, man, you break these rules. It's not just going to be a post on Instagram. It's not just going to be, headlines on ESPN. You will be fined, and you could be potentially facing jail time. So, I think they're doing pretty good, man. With that number, out of what you said, 10,000, only 6 tested positive.
10,500 in the past week.
That's good. That's an excellent number.
See, the thing is, Marcus Mack, is like, the Blue Jays actually have to travel back and forth into the United States. So that's why they put that heavy, heavy fine on them, because not for nothing, you do get Blue Jays players that they might not live in Canada, but they stay there periodically for 6 months, 7 months out of the year. So they rent something for that time being. But because they are actual baseball players that live there for that time period, they can do regular things like go to the grocery store, go to restaurants, whatever it may be. But you have to remember that they're traveling in and out of the country to play baseball. So you could contract something and bring it back with you. You understand? So it's a totally different – they're held under totally different circumstances. There's going to be not one word out of the Toronto Blue Jays camp about anybody breaking protocol whatsoever. I promise you.
Yeah. Because it's bigger than just like the teams that are here primarily, and they're dealing with this. Like, what are the numbers, the COVID cases in Canada right now?
Look that up. I'll look that up right now, Marcus Mack. Honestly, Canada COVID cases.
Yeah, while he's checking that out, what I was saying was, the having to move around. Now, obviously, we said this already, that the borders are closed. So it's like normally people are not supposed to be coming in and out, but because of, it's just a occupational hazard. It's like, okay, you guys, athletes, you guys have to travel. So here are the rules, So did you see what the numbers was?
Yeah. So basically it's 110,000 in the whole country, and 96,000 have recovered. There's only been 8,000 deaths in the whole country. The biggest confirmed number is in Quebec. Toronto only has 14,000 confirmed cases. So it's relatively low, and Canada wants to do a really, really good job of maintaining those low numbers. So right. I don't blame them for taking the necessary precautions when you got, players coming in and out and staff coming in and out of the country to play baseball.
And it seems like America is the only place that's still stuck in limbo with this. I mean, there's a lot of other countries, they're recovering.
I want to applaud the first responders, the nurses, the doctors,
Definitely.
all the frontline people that have been doing everything that they can. But not for nothing, Marcus Mack, our response to this was very, very delayed, and that's the reason why we're going through what we're going through. If we would have took it as serious as every other country took it, we probably would not be in this situation right now, Marcus.
Mm-hmm. That's a fact.
We probably wouldn't be in this situation. Now, Marcus, listen, not for nothing. I know you didn't want me to bring it up. But you got to give me one Vladimir Guerrero Jr. impersonation. I swear to everything I love, you look exactly like him. You could be a relative of him right now. If you guys are not watching on YouTube, please go check it out on YouTube so you can see the resemblance between Marcus Mack and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have Marcus input a picture of both of them wearing the same exact jersey in the end after the show is over.
Tranquilo, Emilio.
Yes, that's That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Easy, man.
Well, Marcus, tomorrow there'll be some exhibition games. Finally, some baseball teams playing against each other. We're going to see the Phillies play the Nationals, the Indians play the Pirates, and the Yankees play the Mets. Finally, we're getting to some baseball. This is really, really enjoyable. Not for nothing. Safely. Yes, very, very, very safely. And it's less than a week away. It's so exciting. We're going to see some baseball finally being played. Everybody's anxious. Everybody wants to see baseball being played. And then we're going to get hockey right after that. The NBA is going to start next week. The week after that, it's just everything is just coming back surely.
Listen, man, when sports really starts back, they need to get Kevin Hart on there to say, "So excited!" Because every time I think of sports, that's all I hear. So excited!
Now, Marcus, I also wanted to give a shout out. We spoke about this on the pre-show to Major League Soccer, MLS, who has been doing an amazing job. The same thing with coronavirus testing. They have had no players inside of their bubble test positive. They have done an amazing job of making sure staff, players, trainers, referees, everything, administration, everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. Do you see the results when you follow rules?
I mean, yeah. Hello, NBA. Yeah. yeah, man. Yeah.
You don't hear no stories about Major League Soccer players trying to sneak in chicks or sneak in food or whatever.
Yo, this whole conversation is so shady. It's so shady. Wait, how you threw that one in? You don't see nobody trying to sneak in girls, trying to get some Uber Eats on the side. Like
Postmates, delivery dudes.
Yeah. Like, who is he talking about? Ooh, mystery.
So, Marcus, I didn't know this last episode, but I found out after we did the episode. So what he did was, I guess somebody else had did it, and then he tried to, replicate it by saying, it's not that bad, just order your food and meet him at the gate. And he actually put it out on social media that was he was going to do. So he ended up crossing the line. He got caught. And then once he got caught, he retweeted, never mind, that didn't work. You know what I'm saying? That's it. It's over. Now you got to quarantine for 8 days.
Stupid. Silly guy, you. Somebody take his phone.
Unfortunate, Marcus Mack, with that situation.
Somebody get him on the line and take his phone, please. What?
Marcus, I know you're going to be a little bit upset. I have to inform you that Zion Williamson had to leave the bubble for personal reasons.
Right. So I guess he's going to be, when he comes back, they're going to quarantine him. For sure.
So it's going to be a little bit tough because everybody's looking forward to seeing, Prince Zion, King Zion, but now it might not, that might not be the case.
It's all good. It's all good, Zion, man. Hakuna Matata. Everything's good. We're waiting patiently. We got you. We got your back, man. We're rooting for you.
Well, this part of the show is going to be brought to you by our sponsor, ElCubanoSandwichShop.com. Use the promo code EAC and receive discounts on online pickups or delivery orders. Enjoy a cafe con leche or that natural pre-workout shot of Cuban coffee to start your day. The daily lunch specials and their steak sandwich is next level. Once again, use the promo code EAC, and that's ElCubanoSandwichShop.com or 954-906-5110. Remember, use the promo code EAC, and that's El Cubano Sandwich Shop in Coral Springs. Marcus Mack, we covered a lot of football in the last episode. Today, we're going to cover a little bit of football. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on with the training camp stuff, and then we're going to dig into the big story of the day, this whole Washington. I don't even want to say the name of the team, honestly.
Right.
I don't want to be insensitive to anybody.
That change is coming soon.
So I don't want to say anything about that. So, we're going to speak about what was released, speak about Dan Snyder's, who's the owner of the Washington team, speak about his statement on that.
But just for the record, his statement was very questionable.
And then we're going to give our opinions on his statement, and we're going to put ourselves in those positions. What would Marcus and myself do if we were the owners as well? So, Marcus, the NFL Players Association is preaching out about training camps and the start of training camps. When should they start? And cautioning, let's pump the brakes a little bit, this, then, and third, because of this whole COVID-19 situation. Not for nothing, we have to be realistic here, Marcus Mack. football is going to be the one oxymoron when it comes to this whole social distancing and trying to do your best to not contract the virus. This is a violent sport. It is idiotic to think that you're not going to be able to transmit COVID-19 amongst players in some way, shape, or form playing NFL football.
I mean, like I told you before, last time when we spoke about this, it's all about the red tape. They're gonna do the bare minimum just so they can get things going, and that could be the biggest problem because it's like you want to be safe. Bottom line, you want to follow the rules just enough so where we can get this ball rolling. No pun intended. But at the same time, it's still imperative that the rules that we're supposed to be following, we at least follow the ones that keep us safe. Well,
So
keep
Marcus,
the players safe.
So, Marcus, I want you to ask me if I was in charge of the NFL, what would I suggest to the players coming back to camp? Ask me.
Okay, you want me to ask you now? Because you know you just said it yourself. Okay,
Yes,
I'm just
I know.
making sure. So the listeners,
I want you
all
to
the
ask
listeners, I
me
want
in
to
your
know.
Marcus Mack way.
Okay, tell me the question again.
The question is, ask me if I was the one recommending how should we start NFL training camps, what would my suggestion be to do that?
Okay, Emilio, I got a question for you. If
Go ahead, Marcus, go ahead.
if you were the person that were in charge of these training camps and these players getting back out on the field, practicing and getting prepared for the season, the upcoming season, what would be your advice to the players and what rules would you set in place?
Marcus, that's an excellent question. I appreciate you asking that question, Marcus Mack. Ready?
I'm ready.
I would let them play fucking two-hand touch for the next month. Seriously. I'm being dead ass.
Okay.
Play two-hand touch for the next month. Let's test the hell out of these players. Let's get these numbers down to where it's like, 4 or 5 players throughout the whole league and staff members testing positive, whatever it may be. Let's get it down to where it's MLS and MLB numbers, and then we will sit there and then we will start tackling and mangling people and stuff like that.
I have a question, right? How often is NFL doing tests?
That's what they're discussing right now. They're literally going back and forth discussing it. Players want to be tested every day. They want it every day. They do not want anything that doesn't have to do with every day. If it's not every day, they don't want to discuss it.
Okay.
They want to be tested every day, no matter what. And I don't blame them. I think
that plays a huge part, but it's a breathing thing. So it's like two-hand touching, still breathing on each other.
Listen to me. I watched another podcast, another show. Pat McAfee, shout out to them and the boys. There was an NHL rep on, basically saying that it cost the NHL hockey them over $200,000 a month to administer the amount of tests necessary on a daily basis in order to comply with what the NHL players want them to do when it comes to coronavirus testing. That is nothing for the NFL. That is like a fart for the NFL. They literally can pay that no problem.
Yeah, they pretty much wipe their ass with that.
Yeah. So if you really think about it, if you're not testing every day, there's no point in talking about it. So I think that's going to be a no-brainer that they're going to test every day. The question is more going to be about what are you going to do with a specific person once they test positive, because we play such a contact sport. You understand? Like MLS, soccer, yeah, the ball, you touch it, whatever. But,
for the most part, they don't touch it. It is a contact sport. Yeah.
But you're not constantly touching a person. You understand?
With your hands. Right.
Not like football.
But it's not just touching, it's breathing too. They're breathing on each other. So
yeah,
it is air, like it's airbound, right? Like you can contract it from breathing.
But if you think about it, Marcus, if you test enough, you're going to create a comfortable environment as weeks go on, as practice sessions go on, as games go on. Because let's not forget, they play games on Mondays, they play games on Thursdays, they play games on Sundays. So as the weeks go on, as the games go on, as the practices go on, you're going to develop a level of comfort. That's already happening in MLS. Guys inside of the bubble are really developing a level of comfort. They're going out there and sitting there saying, well, we're testing negative over and over and over again. Now we can just go out there and play and not have to worry about whether I'm going to come back positive or not.
How about this? I got an idea. How about this? The protective screens that some players wear on their helmets? Why don't we get some kind of like the shield, get a protective screen on everybody's helmet, standard.
That's amazing that you said that. Oakley has come out with a design concept in order to do that, and the players can't stand that shit. They said you are out of your mind, and the person that designed this has never played football in their damn life.
Some people wear those shields though, just over their eyes though. Yeah, I think it's a comfort. I think it's a comfort thing.
But over the mouth, no chance in hell. They said there's no way.
This one's over their mouth. Can we pull that up?
Yeah,
I definitely want to pull that up.
Yeah, pull it up. It's just type it in. It's called Oakley's the name of the company, and Oakley's designing the concept to do a mouth shield, and the players cannot stand it. Some players have already said there's no fucking way that they would play with that shit on.
Yeah, nah. They pretty much wouldn't be able to breathe. I was thinking more on the gate, not too close to your mouth, but just on the gate.
Yeah. But nah, they already said they wouldn't do it, Marcus Mack. And you know what? Not for nothing. I think the NFL has to be reasonable and sit there and say, look, we're going to test every day because we want you guys to be as comfortable as possible to produce the best product as possible. Because at the end of the day, it's what's most important, is going out there and comfortable doing your job and not have to worry about anything else. Because when a player is worried about anything other than playing the sport, they're not going to perform at their top level.
I just made a serious mistake, ladies and gentlemen. I got gum sitting in front of me, and I put the gum in my mouth. I really should be taking the gum out of my mouth. Excuse me. Yeah. NFL players definitely, in all sports, you want to be focused on the task at hand. You want to be focused on what you're doing. They go out there. These guys pretty much zone out. And when they're on that field, when they're on that court, whatever the case may be, they zone out and they're playing the game. And the last thing they want to be doing is, for one, it's messing up their breathing. They won't be able to breathe correctly. They won't be able to focus. Everything is just off. They're done already frustrated because they don't want to have it on. I don't know, man, but there has to be a better way. There has to be a better way. I can't lie. I kind of like the two-hand touch idea. Two-hand touch idea is kind of cool. But I'm like, yo, they're still breathing on each other. So now what?
So Marcus Mack, now we're getting a little bit into, we all know about the whole situation with the Washington team. And, a lot of this stuff ended up coming up, Marcus, because of the insensitive name that they had. They were formerly called the Redskins and no longer called the Redskins. But not for nothing, what we've learned, and we've known this for a while, but the power of the actual sponsors. EA Sports, everybody knows EA Sports, Madden, FIFA, all those games, video games console, has come out and said that they will remove the Washington team's nickname off of their game. Now, at the end of the day, Marcus, we know how to hit teams where it really hurts, and that's in their pockets.
That's a fact.
So you have FedEx, when you have Nike, when you have EA Sports saying, look, we ain't going to do no business with Washington, and you guys fix this situation, that's when all of a sudden this nickname became a problem. And the owner wanted to fix it.
But we spoke about this before, and I can't stress it enough. If you wanna get somebody to change their mind, affect their bottom line. Start messing with their bottom line and watch and see how their minds start to change drastically. I'm telling you. And that's the place where you get them. It's two places you could get a man. You hit him in the pockets or you hit him in the balls. And you don't want to do either one because they gonna move. Oh, they gonna move.
Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of insight, Marcus. I know you don't know this. I totally forgot to discuss it on the pre-show with you. But I'll give a shout-out to that Virginia attorney that trademarked every Washington nickname known to man, and the Washington owners are trying to get the nickname bought from him. Shout out to whoever you are. You are a genius, an entrepreneur. Congratulations to you because you just hit the damn lotto.
Yeah, that's a fact. That was definitely thinking ahead of the curve. Yeah.
Marcus, yeah. I would literally sell them the name and I need royalties. I wouldn't even take $1 up front.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Why don't you just get another name? What did he do? What names? I would like to pull that up. What names did he got?
You can look it up. You can look them up. I'll read them to you. The trademark names by the attorney for the Redskins, by the lawyer. Trademark names, Washington.
Are both of us looking it up? I can't lie.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up. It's coming up right now, Marcus. I'm gonna tell you what they are. Okay, he trademarked a whole bunch of them. Like, it was a big list. I'm trying to find the list, Marcus. I really am. But it was like Red Hawks, Generals, Warriors. I found it. I found it, Marcus. I found it. So it was the Washington Wolves, the Washington Red Tails, the Washington Monuments, the Washington Americans, the Washington Veterans, the Washington Warriors. He trademarked so many like names that they could have thought of that when they got to the name that they wanted, he owned it.
I wonder how much that cost.
The trademark something is not that much.
Yeah, but to trademark all of those names,
it's not that much.
Trademark something is at least about $200, maybe
so
more.
What, $200 for 10 names, 2 G's?
Oh, it was only 10 names. Okay.
But
that's
he
what I'm
came
thinking.
up with the most obvious names.
Yeah. But I ain't gonna lie. I like the Red Wolves. The Red Wolves is kind of dope.
I think he trademarked the Red Tails too.
Yeah, you see, the funny thing is I read an article about somebody. So there was a wedding service, something like that. Like they make gowns and everything. They had the same name as Beyonce's daughter, and they tried to sue Beyonce for naming her daughter that. And I think it's because not just because she named her that, but because they trademarked Blue Ivy's name. So, that whole the domain names, trademarks, patents, all that stuff is big business.
Right here in sunny South Florida, the Miami Marlins do not own MiamiMarlins.com. It's some other guy owns it.
That's crazy. How bad? How bad do you want it?
How bad do you want it? Pay for it. Some other guy owns the Miami Marlins trade. You type in MiamiMarlins.com, you will not see the Miami Marlins website. It's somebody else that owns it.
Yeah, I think that was a big thing with the .com boom. A lot of people was buying domain names left and right. Matter of fact,
So now we're gonna get to Marcus Mack. We discuss the Washington Redskins and Daniel Snyder's take on all of these spicy situations that you and I spoke about during the show.
His extra political response, which was his response to the public, was the behavior described in yesterday's Washington Post article has no place in our franchise or society. This story has strengthened my commitment to setting a new culture and standard for our team, a process that began with hiring the coach Ron Rivera.
Now, I'm gonna leave that end part for later because we'll talk about that, Marcus.
Right. Okay? But tell me how you feel about this.
Yeah, but this is all a PR move.
All PR, definitely. I'm glad you said that.
In response to what was happening between 2006 to 2019, where 15 women have alleged that there was sexual harassment or misconduct or treatment of women in the workplace. Now, let me explain something to you, okay? You get that many guys in an area around very, very pretty women, there's going to be stuff that happens, right? It's just natural. It's going to be stuff that happens. You understand? It's not acceptable. It happens. You understand?
The hormones and the, yes.
The perfume. It's not acceptable. Yeah. It's not acceptable. Marcus, you have a daughter. I have a daughter. It's not acceptable.
Nice at all.
The thing here is you are the leader. This is happening on your watch. I don't want to hear all this nonsense. Take blame, apologize, say it's my fault. I will fix this. This will never happen again. Take responsibility. That little PR BS bullshit that you put out, that's nonsense. And another thing, I saw another show earlier today. They're asking these Washington beat writers that used to hang out with the team and used to report on the team, tell me what you saw during your time, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I heard this and I heard that. Man, shut the fuck up. You didn't say anything when that shit was happening. I don't want to hear shit about what you're saying right now neither. You can go to hell with all that. If you sat there for 13 years and you allowed one of somebody's daughter, wife, whatever, mother, somebody get harassed, and you allowed that shit to happen, and you didn't open your voice or use your platform to stop it, you can go to hell.
Yeah, that's a fact. And you know what? 15 women. This is something that's been going on for a while, and not only has it been going on for a while, but it's obviously something that's well known. 15 women. I don't care if there's 1,000 people in the building. 15 women, sexual misconduct. Like, nah, there's a lot of times when it's like, sometimes women scream wolf, they'll cry wolf, and it's like, but this is one of those things where it's like, no, people knew what was going on, and it finally came out, and then this is the way you react to it. Nah. Now, taking accountability is something that a lot of people aren't willing to do, but we're setting a standard for the culture of the
Marcus,
team.
That's the shit that got me mad.
What
That's the shit that got me mad. Like, it's literally like you are the billionaire owner that all of these people are supposed to follow. You are the leader. You are the man on top. You're the one that sits there and says, you know what? I'm going to run through a wall for this guy because this guy believes in me. He drafted me. He wanted to be part of this organization. So I'm going to do everything in my power to help him win a championship because that's what I want to do. And you say this shit? No one believes this. And
then not only that, all of the women that might have wanted to work with their organization because of like moving forward, especially like, what are you going to say? What are you going to do? Moving forward, no woman will want to work with that organization because it's like, they don't want to deal with that, especially these professional women that really sincerely just want a good, clean working environment. And there's so many women that work with, a lot of these organizations, whether it be other teams, ESPN, just administration. There's a lot of women involved in sports. There's no reason why this kind of stuff should be going on. And like I said, 15 women, this is something that's been going on for a while.
Marcus, many of women have had situations to where they work in environments where they work for the people. They like going to work for the people that they work with, but they don't like their bosses. This is one of those instances, Marcus Mack. So in all actuality, people are going to choose to go work for the Washington team because of the new head coach, Ron Rivera, who's a very family-oriented man. He's a man's man. He's a leader of men. You can ask anybody in the NFL. They will tell you if they know Ron Rivera. Ron is somebody that you do anything for because he'll do anything for you. He'll always ask you and make you feel like no matter what, he'll make you feel like a man before he makes you feel like a football player. He'll ask you about your family and how you're doing and how's your well-being and how's your children and is everything good at home, stuff like that. He's somebody that brings his family. He fully invests himself and his family into the organization that he's part of. So Ron Rivera being the coach of the Washington team is 100% going to change the culture there. The problem is going to be that Dan Snyder, the owner, is probably going to have to be completely and utterly hands-off and out of view for people to actually believe that change is going to happen.
Yeah, well, they definitely, anyone that's coming to look, anyone that's looking to work with the Washington Redskins, they're going to be closely paying attention to any actions that happen moving forward because, something has to be done and people want to know that the person in charge is not going to allow these kinds of actions.
Now, not for nothing, Marcus, they did remove some of the people that they claimed so happen to be part of this whole situation, the sexual harassment that has happened over so many years or whatever it may be. But that's not good enough. That's not good enough, Marcus, because there was people that were bosses of people that allowed that stuff to happen. So that's in all actually not good enough. There has to be more, Marcus. There has to be more.
Yes, there definitely has to be more. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but that's my child calling me right now. and that was a big mistake on my part that I left my iCloud on my computer. These darn Zoom calls. And I'm going to tell my 7-year-old about that as soon as we get off this.
Janiyah, we love you. We love you so much. We want to be safe in our heart, you okay, Janiyah?
Yeah. I'm so sorry. I was sitting here trying to end the call. Please stop. And anyone that has a Mac, Apple computer, they know the problem that I was just having. So yeah, I apologize about that, Emilio. Can we bring that back, please?
It's all right. Family always comes first, Marcus. I'm never gonna tell you not to take any family calls. You can literally pick the phone and tell Janiyah, baby, I'm recording. I'll call you right back, and I love you, and it would have been perfectly fine.
The thing is that my phone is on silent, and then the computer starts ringing, and then I hear my other iPhone ringing. I'm like, what's going on? Stop ringing. Yeah, man. But that too. Huh?
Rivera is definitely the man. Ron Rivera is definitely the man in charge, the right guy in charge to change the culture in Washington, Marcus. He's 100% the man to do that.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to see what comes of this. Even with the name change, the name change is a big light shining on Washington right now, and I can't wait to see what comes of this, because it should be a great work environment for men as well as women. It should be a place where people should be proud to say the Washington Red Wolves or whatever the case may be, and that now all of a sudden they want to change the name. They brought light to that. Why now? We're not going to speak about that.
I'm going to issue Marcus a challenge to Tanya Snyder, who's Dan Snyder's wife. You have an opportunity to step into the light and definitely represent the women. You could literally take charge and literally just sit there and say, you know what? Let me take over for right now. Let me hold this down. Let me do what I need to do in order to get things done, because obviously doing it your way hasn't worked for the past 20 years.
And you know what? That's actually a very good idea. That is actually a great PR move. Just for the record, by the way, you know what I'm saying? Because when things like that happen, you have the wife steps in and say, hey, listen, we're not going for this. That definitely will make women a lot more comfortable, especially when boss man seems like he's not doing exactly what he needs to be doing. Oh, now let's bring in your wife. You know what I mean? Female empowerment, girl power. Who runs the world? Girls. Heavy on the Beyonce. For real.
So, Marcus Mack, we're going to get into our last topic on episode 67, and that's going to be the ESPN creep of the day. And we're going to talk about the situation with Rachel Nichols and the person actually, I don't know if it's a guy or a girl, but the actual person being a creep and recording Rachel Nichols without her knowledge and trying to pawn off the videos and the recordings to Deadspin to show that Rachel Nichols was a backstabber and wasn't very good to her ESPN employer, and it didn't work.
Yeah. They
so is this a derelict? Is this a derelict of the day?
Yeah, derelict of the. I like that. I like that. Yeah, that was really definitely a bozo move, especially with somebody of her caliber and what she stands for and she represents. Obviously, this is one of those hater moves. So I mean, he tried to put himself or herself probably in a better position and said, I'm going to use this as a catalyst. And definitely a big bozo move. Shout out to him. He gets the derelict of the day.
Him or her.
Or her, right. Him or her. I just, ever since the whole Washington Redskins thing, we don't want to put any women in any bad light. So it was a him.
So basically what the person was trying to do, they were trying to expose Rachel Nichols and basically sit there and say, like, she talks bad about ESPN. She's a little bit upset because she's not most likely going to be covering the finals because she's down at the NBA bubble doing media work for ESPN. She actually does the jump from her ESPN hotel at Disneyland or Disney World, sorry. And I guess the recorder for her feed was still on, so the person realized that and recorded the video and the audio. You don't see Rachel Nichols in the video supposedly, but you do hear her. And the video is edited. It's supposed to be 30 minutes long. There's only 4 clips basically edited, kind of like screen recorded or whatever it may be, and then sent to the publication. The publication actually took the high road. They notified ESPN and decided not to report or give details of what exactly was in the videos or in the recordings. And ESPN allowed them to write a story on it. This is very disturbing, Marcus, man, because damn, who the hell can you trust if you can't trust the people you work with on a daily basis.
Exactly. And when hiring that person, you expect them to have a level of integrity, because especially when you're in the position that you're in, being a public figure, it's like, everyone around you needs to have a certain level of integrity, and you have to be able to trust. Same way how, when we talk to our sports figures, or anybody that we may have, whether it be, somebody on the inside, in administration, or somebody that's an actual athlete, you want to keep the integrity, not just of your brand, but your integrity as a person. So, you got people around you, and it's like, how can you find, like, what? This person was probably good at some point, and then at that point, some point, they lost it, and it's like, okay, I know why this person did this, and only she can know that. Only Rachel would know, okay, I know why this person did this.
So, Marcus, I'm glad you brought that up, because we've had multiple discussions with athletes on our show, and some of them like to talk about certain things on camera or on the record, and sometimes they feel uncomfortable talking about certain things on camera, and they decide to talk about it off the record.
Yeah, because there's some things that don't need to be spoken about in front of the public, especially, like I said, when you are a certain public figure.
But the integrity of us as a show has to be able to respect what they talk about on the record and off the record. You understand? It's very easy, Marcus. I can literally hide something. You can insinuate whatever you want. If I just say my source, you have no idea who it's from.
Yeah, it's a fact.
That's it at the end of the day. Now, if the person sits there and says, yeah, I don't mind if you say that, and I say, oh, well, TJ said it. But there he goes. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, this is, it goes back to what we learned as kids. What happens in this house stays in this house. If we you hear something going on, ain't no reason to talk about it outside. But this particular situation was one of those things where somebody felt a ways, or they was trying to get ahead, and they was trying to be spiteful, it could have been, and they just capitalized off the situation. Because that's just like me and you are talking, and the recorder is still on, and I'm going to edit the show. I see it. I'm not going to just leave it there. I'm going to take it out, because it's like, okay, nah, this doesn't need to be out there. This is one of those things that were done purposely and maliciously. There was malicious intent in this. You know what I'm saying? And, it was absolutely horrible. And I'm quite sure, Rachel feels not just embarrassed, but she feels dirty. Like, how did I let that happen? Yeah, you feel betrayed. Like, oh man, like this person was there, like they recorded me talking. It's almost like getting your sex tape leaked. It really feels like that. Like, damn, like I just wanted to be freaky in private. Now everybody sees what's wrong with you.
Marcus, not for nothing. This is only happening with one sport, the NBA. The NBA is pre-recording people, like they're recording people with not knowing their knowledge. They're snitching on people. They have a hotline where they snitch on people if you're not wearing your mask, or you're trying to sneak Postmates or whatever stuff into the bubble or whatever. Only sport that has a hotline to snitch on each other is the NBA.
That's crazy. And I guess that's because the NBA is the only ones that's breaking the rules the way that they are.
Speculation talk over. Click like, subscribe.
NBA is from the beginning. NBA, we're talking to you.
Click like, subscribe on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. Make sure you like us on the EAC Show on Instagram and all our social media platforms. That's going to conclude episode 67. Make sure you check us out episode 68. Marcus, enjoy the weekend, buddy.
Speculation talk over.
Oh, sugar honey iced tea. It's the EAC Show.